I've been at this YouTube thing for a few months now, and I feel like I need to make a video on sharing my perspective on why I think small creators quit. Because honestly, there's been a bunch of times throughout my journey so far where I fully understand why people back out of this race and they come across this fork in the road. Should I quit? Should I stick with it? So if you're watching this, there's a good chance you've either started a YouTube channel and you're wondering if you should keep going, or you're thinking about starting one, but you're scared that you're going to be one of those people who quits after a few videos. And I fully understand it now. I've been doing this for a few months, like I've said, and I've watched creators around me quit. But here's what I figured out. It seems like most people quit for the same reasons. And if you do understand those reasons going in, you can actually do something about it. So stick around, because in this video, I'm going to break down why I think most small creators quit, what's kept me from quitting, what I would tell someone right now thinking about giving up and quitting, and honestly, whether you should even be doing this in the first place, because I'm learning YouTube is not for everyone and quitting might actually be the right call. So let me start with the biggest one. The number one reason small creators quit is, to simply put it, time. Because you got to think about it. What goes into a video? You got to come up with the idea. That's time. You got to come up with a plan. That's time. You got to go film it. That's time, which could be anywhere from a couple hours to an entire day, depending on what you're doing. Then you got to go sit down, edit for hours. Don't even get me started on color grading, adding music, adding text overlays, transitions, you name it. I've dabbled in it all. Oh, and I didn't even mention that you got to optimize your title, your description, your tags, looking up keywords. So that's easily going to be 10, 15, maybe even 20 hours for one video if you're doing everything right. Now multiply that by how many videos you want to upload per week. Because there are some people that are doing really well simply by the amount of videos that they push out a week. Daily vloggers, they're not going to be the most aesthetic, the most polished, the most professional looking video, but they're putting out so much volume that it kind of makes up for a lot of that. And honestly, our skill level matches more of that daily vlogger style, but we don't have the skills yet to execute a daily vlog, to plan, to go film, to edit all in one day and keep that going on a daily basis. If you got a full-time job, if you got a family, if you're trying to even have a social life, suddenly this thing is eating up into every spare moment you have. And most people didn't even think about any of this stuff going into it. They think YouTube is going to be a side hustle, might take a few hours in the week. I hate to break it to you. If you're trying to do this full-time, be a YouTuber, it's not. It's a full-on, full-time job without the pay. It's a commitment. When they realize how much time it actually takes, a lot of people begin tapping out. They're like, pump the brakes. This is not worth it. Who has the time for this? And they quit. Here's another thing though. There's also this thing I found myself doing. I call it a comparison trap. Or I found myself comparing myself to creators who are already established, already have an audience, already figured out their thing and how it works. And that kind of comparison will 100% kill your motivation. Then it'll start telling your brain that you're failing, that you'll never be like them, and that all this is pointless, which is also going to make you want to quit. Also, people start thinking that if they make good content, people are going to watch immediately. They think maybe after a month or two, they'll start seeing real growth. And when that doesn't happen, they get discouraged. They feel like they're doing something wrong, and instead of understanding that growth just takes time, they just want to give up. And there's also I'll call it maybe a lack of purpose issue, for lack of a better term, where people start YouTube because they think that it's going to make them rich. They see the money side of it and that's their motivation. And when they're grinding away, making videos, and the money isn't coming in a month or two, or even 6, they lose interest, because the only thing that kept them going was the fantasy of the rich and famous getting paid. And that fantasy will not be strong enough to carry you through the grind. Shoot, a lot of us go into this thinking it's going to be a lot faster than what it actually is. We think virality is just around the corner. we're just one good video away and it's going to change everything. And when that doesn't happen after video 5, video 10, we all start getting discouraged. You start thinking that you're doing something wrong. Maybe that you're not talented enough. Maybe your ideas aren't good enough. And instead of understanding that you're just at the beginning, that this is the marathon, not a sprint, you convince yourself it's not going to work. Okay, so let me tell you guys why I haven't quit. Because honestly, it came down to one big thing, and it was managing my expectations. I went into this fully understanding that this is a marathon, not a race. I was not going to blow up overnight. I set realistic expectations. I understood that this was going to take time. And when I understood this, it just freed me so much mentally because I'm not constantly just getting disappointed in my results. I made a conscious decision not to compare myself to other creators. Yes, I see so many other creators doing way better than me, but I need to remember I am running my own marathon. I'm focusing on my progress, nobody else's. And when I look back on where I was when I first started posting my serious YouTube videos back in August versus where I'm at now, I can see improvement. Incremental, but still improvement. We're getting somewhere. I can actually see my skills are getting better. My videos are getting better. And that progress, even if it is slow, very slow for myself, is still enough to keep me motivated. Also, one of the biggest things I'm going by is trusting the process. That sounds super simple, but it's the difference between quitting and sticking around for me. I fully believe that if I keep putting in the work, if I keep learning, if I keep improving my skills, then eventually the results will follow. I'm not expecting it today or tomorrow, but I do believe it's going to come. And that belief is what keeps me showing up every day. So if you're anything like me and you trust that skill improvement over time equals better content and better content will equal growth, then you can actually stay in the game long enough to see your results. So here's what I really want to say to anyone who's thinking about quitting right now. Before you even make that decision, I want you to realign with why you even started YouTube in the first place, because your answer to that is going to matter so much. At one point, you believed in this dream. You had a dream that you were willing to chase, and somewhere along the way, you got discouraged and you lost that. So the question isn't whether YouTube is hard. It is. That was never the question. The question is, why are you even doing this in the first place? If your answer is that you wanted to be rich, then honestly, YouTube is not the place to be. There are much easier ways to make money than YouTube. Because as I mentioned, you are going to be working and grinding for months and months without seeing a single dollar. Full-time job without seeing a single dollar. So if that's all you're going to be chasing, you're going to burn out. But if you started YouTube because you love creating, because you want to document your life, your experiences with the people that you love, to build something that is yours, maybe something to have to show your kids or your kids' kids. Maybe they can look back on this one day and just be like, oh my God, look how cool or look how silly they were back in the day. Look what they were doing. To me, especially as a parent, those are reasons to keep going. Those are reasons that don't depend on views, that aren't going to depend on the money, and they're not going to depend on needing to go viral. Those are reasons that are all about you and what matters to you and what aligns with you. So yeah, small creators, they quit all the time because of time and because of unrealistic expectations, because they lose sight of why they started. Realign yourself. But if you go in with it with your eyes open, you manage expectations, you remember why you're really doing this, you really got a shot at this. So if you're thinking about quitting right now, before you do, please try to realign with why you started this thing. Find that original belief that you had in yourself. Find that dreamer that was willing to pursue all of this and ask yourself, is it all still worth it? And if it is, then why would you ever quit on yourself? So don't do it. Don't quit. Trust the process. Put in the damn work and believe like a psychopath that this thing is going to pay off, because it will. But what do I know? That's my perspective from a small creator about why small creators quit. If you agree with any of these reasons, or if you're somewhere early in your journey, I would love to hear about your perspective on this topic. Thank you for sharing your time and watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.